Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pav Bamber here for PSP Sports. We've also got
Shane Watson here from PSP Sports as well.
And on the line with us, all the way from Los Angeles, California, we have American heavyweight Malik King Scott. Malik, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
No problem, anytime. And we're good, and also thanks a lot for your time. Malik, firstly, I've got to ask you, your Facebook posts, very motivational, very inspirational. You've got the hashtag rebuilding Rome brick by brick. What do you mean by that? Are you hoping to launch a heavy assault on the heavyweight division in the next year or so?
Yeah, definitely. Building Rome brick by brick is I'm first of all, I'm a huge fan of Italy and Rome, and I know my history on the burning down of Rome and it being built brick by brick over time. So I just live my life like that. Like, you know what I mean? Nothing is a rush to me. I'm aware greatness take time. So I don't do nothing but just stay in the gym day by day, round by round, brick by brick. So there's just a little phase I use to keep myself motivated, not just with boxing, but in life in general. So yeah, that's my thing.
Absolutely.
Well, so another thing I wanted to say, last time out, you had a great victory against Tony Thompson. Possibly one of your greatest victories today, because obviously Tony Thompson's highly regarded in the boxing world, and he had a very good ranking at the time when you beat him too. So now that you're coming off two good victories, also against Alex Leopai as well, what's next for you? Because obviously now, surely it's got to be a world title eliminator or something like that now, surely.
Yeah, definitely. If you leave it up to me, I'm always asking for Anthony Joshua, David Haye, or Luis Ortiz. If I can have it my way, I would want to fight any of those three guys if it was about just calling out. But anybody I could get my hands on now that just have a relevant name in the top 10, top 12, I'm perfectly fine with that. As long as it's some relevance behind the fight, like, you know, me and my people have no problem fighting. So anybody name you see in that top 10, like, you know, I have no problem with fighting none of them. I actually want to. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, Malik. And also, Malik, I've got to ask, in the last decade at least, a lot of UK fighters in general have been going over to America, essentially, Malik, to get their world title shots, essentially to collect their big paydays, Malik, on either HBO or Showtime pay-per-view. However, Eddie Hearn and other promoters here in the UK are now saying that the market has changed, Malik, that the US fighters such as Charles Martin, so on and so forth, are now wanting to come to the UK to collect their big payday and their world title shot. Do you think, Malik, being a fighter from the UK, that this is true? And if so, why is the game changing here in a positive way for the UK?
Well, the game is probably changing momentarily because that's just life. Like things, recycle and come back around. But the two of the main titles are in the UK right now. Tyson Fury has the titles he took from Vladimir, and Anthony Joshua has the title that he took from Charles Martin. So, as far as my recollection, everybody want to be champion, want a shot at the title, and it just so happens that there's a few titles over there in the UK, so obviously people are going to go over there to fight and try to get a title, and there's more money on the line and things like that. But me, like wherever, like it doesn't matter where I go and fight. Like I'll go anywhere and fight, especially if it's a title involved. It's like, you know what I mean? I'll be there faster than Superman, change clothes. So right now the titles are over there and people are trying to get over there and fight for these titles and also earn a good living. And it's, it's simple. I understand it. And I don't think it's going to remain like that because I don't believe Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua will have the titles forever. So, when they change hands, wherever the titles are at, that's where people are going to gravitate to.
Okay.
Another thing I want to speak to you about, it's been very well known that you're quite close friends with DILLIAN WHYTE. DILLIAN WHYTE won in his comeback fight on the weekend against Avicii Bakarin. That was obviously a comeback fight because of the shoulder injury. How good is DILLIAN WHYTE and how far do you think he can go in the sport?
I think, I've never seen a fighter with more heart than DILLIAN WHYTE. Like, this dude, he's a born fighter. He's tough. He has a good size. His arms is longer than what they seem in the ring. And, what impresses me most about Dylan is he's always willing to learn. He's a sponge for anybody that has anything positive to say that he feels as though that can make him better. So I feel as though he can go all the way as he wants himself to go. But, we'll see what the future holds for him and, all rest of us, because this thing is about winning titles. And I think Dillian is good enough to win the title, and we'll see what happens though.
Malik, obviously Anthony Joshua fought dominant Brazil over the weekend here at the O2 Arena in London. What did you make of Anthony Joshua's performance on Saturday night?
I thought Anthony Joshua did a good job. I think he's getting better each fight. I feel as though at the same time, Dominique Brazil was picked for a reason. He wasn't picked because he was the toughest guy. He was picked because he was the right guy. And the right guy comes in the ring and shows a lot of heart, I'm assuming, to the fans, quote unquote. And you're indirect human punching bag. I mean, I put this statement up on Twitter and people took it the wrong way, which I don't give a shit about. But you can have all the heart in the world you want in this particular game, but if you don't have no defense, you're just as good as dead. Even Rocky Balboa was a movie, but Mick used to tell him, slip the jab, slip the jab. You have to get out of the way of shots. You have to know how to evade. You have to know how to protect yourself. I didn't see one good defensive move by Dominique Brazil the other day, and that's because he probably really don't have any. And this is something that Joshua, and this is something that I'm assuming Eddie Hearn probably seen from the rip. They looked at him as someone that would last a few rounds, make Joshua look good, and Joshua did look good. He's looking better fight by fight.
Another thing I wanted to get on to too. Obviously, you fought one of the world champions in Deontay Wilder previously. Obviously, the fight didn't go very well, as you would have known. You obviously would have wished it went a completely different way. But it is boxing, it is heavyweight boxing. One punch always does change a fight. Obviously, a lot of people are saying that you didn't even want to be in the ring because they're saying you got punched in the glove. It wasn't even a clean connection. What have you got to say to those people? And what was the reason? Obviously, it must have genuinely been a proper knockdown and you was hurt.
Yeah, it was just a temple shot, and I got hit on the temple also when I fought Derek Chisora. I got hit on the temple, and when I fought Deontay, I got hit on the temple. Things happen in boxing, different fight, different night. But those losses didn't do nothing but make me grow. And if you notice, if people pay attention to my career, I'm getting better as I get old. My best wins came as I'm getting older and getting more wiser in the game.
Right.
And the same shot, let's just say this, the same shot that basically murdered David Price's career, I took that same shot from Tony Thompson and got up and continued to put on a clinic. These are the things and the facts you won't hear people talk about. The same punches that Alex Leopold was knocking people out with to fight Vladimir Klitschko, he hit me with those shots and I continued to put on a clinic. Those are the facts. People saying stuff about me taking a dive and stuff like that with Deontay, those are opinions until they get hit with the temple shot on their head and then see how they react. You know what I mean? And then that's what happened. I've been rebuilding my room brick by brick ever since my last loss, and I'm doing a damn good job. I still feel as though there's not a heavyweight in boxing today that could carry my jock strap when it comes to skills, and I just want the right fights to continue to prove it.
Malik, also, in general, the world governing bodies and world rankings, they're always heavily scrutinized in terms of who's ranked where, who gets a deserved title shot, who's mandated necessarily, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Malik, David Haye recently made his return back in January, and obviously a fellow heavyweight in the game such as yourself who's been active during the time David Haye's been out. David Haye's now ranked number 3 in the IBF and fairly high in other governing bodies, having fought Mark Demori and now Arnold Gergely, two relatively unskilled opponents who obviously weren't going to cause David too many problems. So bearing in mind he's beaten them. Having said that, do you think he's worthy of being number 3 in the IBF and ranked highly in the other governing bodies?
The way how the game is designed, is it fair? Probably not. I'm not the one to say that. Does it make sense? No. But as far as David Haye is David Haye. He's a former cruiserweight champion. He's a former heavyweight champion. So he's climbed the mountain and been to the top. And I guess that holds some relevancy. And when you retire and then you come back to the sport. So I'm thinking that he's in those top ratings, not about what he's doing in a recent time, but about things that he did in the past. And he actually can fight. He can punch. He's TV friendly. So I get it. David Haye is good for the heavyweight division. I just would like my shot at him to expose him and exploit more of my skills against guys like that, because he's a heavy threat for anybody. But I feel as though that I can beat him.
Fair enough.
Obviously, you've all a very well-known guy in Britain anyway, called Derek Chisora. You always claim that the fight got stopped too early. Is that a rematch that you'd maybe like to have as well?
Well, of course, anybody that beats me, I want to fight him again, because I'm from Philadelphia, and that's, the type of shit that I used to do when I was fighting in the street. Like, you beat me up Monday, then if I see you Tuesday, we're going to fight. So my mentality is always like that. But Derek Chisora is doing his thing. He actually was in California not too long ago, and we sparred some rounds, and, he went in for a Pulev, and I thought that was a good fight, even though he lost. If me and Derek Chisora end up getting in the ring again in the future, I would love that. But if not, it's no problem. I got bigger fish to fry, and there's other fights, bigger fights that I'm actually chasing. So, but, we'll see what happens. Only time can tell. But that's something that I'm definitely open to as a rematch.
Malik, you've mentioned there now a few times, you said that you've got bigger fish to fry. You're searching fights, you're chasing fights. Is there any chance you can let us in on some inkling as to some of these fights you're chasing?
As far as, say it again. As far as
you're saying that you've got bigger fish to fry. You're chasing certain fights. Is there? Can you let us in maybe on some news at some of these fights you want or you could have?
I'm chasing Luis Ortiz. David Haye is fighting Shannon Briggs right now, but if that don't happen, then I definitely want to fight David Haye.
Sure.
I would love to fight Anthony Joshua. I wanted to fight Anthony Joshua right after he fought Dillian White. Our fight was made, but he chose to go and fight Charles Martin, because we all know why he wanted to fight Charles Martin. And there's not too many guys I can say, that I literally want to fight besides them three: Luis Ortiz, David Haye, or Anthony Joshua.
Sure.
Right now, obviously, you've got a lot of great heavyweights at the moment. It's the most competitive it's been for a long time. If you had to pick one heavyweight other than yourself who really stands out, who you think the best heavyweight is, who would you pick?
Deontay Wilder.
And why?
Because he's the only heavyweight champion. Besides, I'll take that back. Besides, I feel as though Anthony Joshua is also a heavyweight champion that's learning on the job. But I feel as though Deontay is a lot more athletic than Anthony. I feel as though his the accurate of his punches. I don't think no one can do the things in the ring Deontay do for his size, for his width and stuff like that. I'm just more impressed with Deontay than I am with Anthony Joshua right now. And plus, but the jury is still on Joshua. He hasn't had the opportunity to face some of the tough competition so far that Deontay has faced. Legit top 10 guys and stuff like that. But we'll see. But if you ask me right now, and I feel as though Deontay is at the top of the food chain, and it's not a coincidence that he also is the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. So my reasoning stands strong on why. And I think him and Anthony Joshua is also a super bout pay-per-view, if it ever happened.
Okay, and of course, having said that, you've mentioned there Wilder and Joshua. Obviously back in November, Tyson Fury defeated the man who reigned for a decade. He defeated the super champion, became the super champion. So where do you think Tyson Fury fits into the mix, Malik?
I think as far as boxing skills and awkwardness, he's just as good as Joshua or Wilder. He's definitely in the mix. I'm not excluding Tyson Fury, like not at all, because he's top three heavyweight in the world right now, regardless. But if you just ask me who I feel as though is the best right now today, as far as showing improvement, I would have to go with Deontay Wilder.
Question on that. So what you're saying is, because obviously Deontay Wilder's last few fights, he has had a lot of problems in them fights too, but as a champion that he is, he came through the toughness and ended up knocking out his opponents too. But obviously you got the fight against Artur Spitzka, and you got the fight against Joanne Duhaupas and Molina, the last 3 fights he's had. He struggled a lot in the fights as well, and he was wobbled in
but
each
he's
of the
fighting.
fights.
But it's not struggling when you're fighting live guys.
Yeah, of
Like, you
course.
know what I mean? It's not really struggling. Duapai is one tough son of a bitch, and I told people that before Deontay fought him. Arthur Spilker, that was the best Arthur Spilker that was ever seen. He was giving Deontay fits until he got caught. And then if you look at the shot Deontay knocked him out cold with, it was a 6-inch, like right hook, right hand.
Yeah, of
People
course,
don't even
yeah.
knock people out with them kind of shots no more, especially with that long. Usually a guy 6'7", he needs range to knock you out. Deontay hit that dude with like the shortest right hand I've seen thrown in a long time. He was out cold, and it was a very scary moment for Arthur Spilker.
Sure.
So if you leave it, if you say like if you comparing, let's just say Dominique Brazil to any of the competition that Deontay has fought so far, that's not fair. Because Eric Molina, who lost to Areola before, he got better from that and went and beat an old and knocked out Thomas Adame. Duapai, he walks through Povetkin in training camp. He's a tough, you know what. Areola, people can say what they want about Areola. Out of shape or in shape, he's coming to fight for sure. You have to lay him out to beat Areola, period. You have to literally almost beat him to death. He accept that, and you know that's why that makes sense. I haven't seen Anthony Joshua in that kind of test yet. Like, you know what I mean? I haven't seen him fight nobody with no grease, nobody that has any type of defense. Like, I mean, these are just like juries as out on him. But him as champion, and he's growing. We'll see if he can handle it. These guys, I just want my opportunity to fight.
Okay,
Like, it's
then
not coincidental that like Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn, they have a master plan, and they're not picking the toughest fights. They're picking the right fights. Everybody in the world was trying to fight Charles Martin when he won that title. People say he's the worst heavyweight champion of all time. Eddie Hearns wasn't going to let that by without making sure his guy get that shot at him first. Dominique Brazil, these is guys without even boxing history. Dominique hasn't been boxing like that. He's blessed to make it this far. And he still, you know, stood strong the other day and went 7 rounds with Joshua. But I mean, when you're a human punching bag and you have no grease or you have no defense or no like highly skilled, then you're just as good as dead in this game. You're just as good as dead. And I mean that. Like, you know, I said that the day of the fight and people took it the wrong way, which I didn't give a shit about. But you got to have some sort of defense.
Right.
Like, you have to get out the way of. I mean, especially these heavyweights are getting bigger. And what is Anthony Joshua? 6'7", 240, all muscle.
Yeah.
Our body is not designed to just take them shots over and over and over. Because the crowd that's cheering for you for being brave is not taking the shots that's taken away from your lifespan. Like, you know, you go in the ring one way, you don't get out another that's taking them shots. It looked like he had 5 heads on his head after that fight against Joshua. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, it's a serious thing. He should just, you know, work on it. And this is somebody that just switched trainers. I didn't see a huge difference between when John Bray was training him and when Manny Robles was just working with him.
Right.
Same fighter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you guys got to learn defense, in my opinion.
Okay.
the only thing I find I'd agree with, I completely agree with what you said about Deontay Wilder. I believe he's a much better all-round boxer than Anthony Joshua as well, especially at this stage. But when you've got Tyson
definitely.
Fury, who's beaten Vladimir Klitschko, who's been the heavyweight king for 11 years, and practically, realistically, won almost every round against him in Klitschko's backyard as well.
In Germany.
How can you rate Deontay Wilder above Klitschko? No, sorry, not above Klitschko, above Fury.
Right, and he did it in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was very impressive. And like I tell people, I've never seen a champion or a challenger more confident going in to fight a champion than I seen when Fury was going to go fight Vladimir in Germany since Sonny Liston was fighting Cassius Clay. Like he's not faking. Like Tyson Fury thing is not a real act. Like this is really him. Like, you know, the day of that fight with Vladimir, he was in his room partying, laughing all the way to it, and then he literally took that same attitude and that same relaxation energy and went in there and just was very awkward fighting Vladimir. He looked at Vladimir like a robot, and you know, how do you beat robots? Like you hit him on the back of the head, then touch the floor, then hit the back of your shoe, then throw a right hook. Like that's how he beat him, like with the most stupidest things. But that's what it takes to beat Vlad. Like you have to be like, you know, awkward and come from an unorthodox standpoint of view. So we'll see what happens.
Fair enough. And Malik, also from your perspective as well, you're very, very experienced in the game in the heavyweight division. You know, since Joshua fought on Saturday, there's talk about Joshua Haye, Joshua Fury. How do you think Joshua stands up against Haye and Tyson Fury, Malik?
I don't think he beats Tyson Fury. I don't think Joshua beats Tyson Fury right now. Or he may not beat Tyson Fury. It's not even a right now thing because I think styles make fights. And Joshua, logistically, look at the styles in the body build. Like, it's impossible for Joshua to move like Tyson Fury or to have grease or move like and slip and slide like a Malik Scott. His body type won't even allow that. Like, his body type is step, boom, boom, boom. Because he's so much muscles that you can't be that greasy and you can't be that awkward. Like Tyson Fury, just his feet to me would beat Joshua. And let's not forget, he's a 250-pound man that also can punch and got, a good knockout ratio. So I don't think that's a good fight for Joshua to take right now. And I guarantee you they won't take that right now, no matter how good of they talk. He has, a mandatory with Parker right now. That's a good fight.
That's a good fight, yeah.
Parker can fight. You know what I mean? So I don't think Joshua beats Tyson Fury right now because I think Fury is too much of a good of a boxer for him.
Fair enough.
Right. Malik, we really appreciate for your time today. A good 20-minute call with you, and it was very good to take that time off of you as well. You gave us a lot of good thoughts and insights into boxing, and it's great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Thanks a lot, Malik. Malik, if you could just stay on the line there for 2 minutes, please. Sorry. So, guys, this has been Shane Watson and Pav Bamber here for PSP Sports with American heavyweight world title contender Malik Scott. Thank you very much for listening. Do like and subscribe. Thank you.